We're live, baby. Episode 9, MMA Gossip on YouTube. This is weird now because now I'm on camera, so it's like kind of weird to me. But episode 9, we're still trucking. Follow us on social media at MMA X Gossip on Twitter, Instagram, email at MMA Gossip at gmail.com rather. And now on YouTube, MMA Gossip on YouTube. So if you're watching this, I mean, you'll be on YouTube already. So don't forget to like, subscribe, let us know what you think, boys. And we're just going to keep it rolling. Let's do it.
Yep.
We got video now.
Yep, I set up my little station over here. I got my blue belt over here. It's my dad's brown belt. I got the Art of Fight. Shout out to MMA History Today.
Yeah. Shout out Art of Fight. Shout out Eat Clean, bro. We got all the sponsors that aren't sponsors yet.
Yep, I got my UFC hat from back in the day, signed by Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman, and for those hardcore fans, Riddle.
That's legit, man.
Yeah, man. We're gonna bring you a complete recap of Glover Teixeira versus Anthony Smith. That was last Wednesday, and we're going to give you a recap of Walt Harris versus Overeem card. And then we're going to get right into this upcoming Saturday's card, which features Gilbert Burns versus Tyron Woodley for what seems to be number one contender spot.
Well, Gilbert Burns out of nowhere, dude. I mean, knock out Damian Maia. I mean, he's been active on Twitter, and Twitter warriors get the fights they want.
Yeah, nobody was more active than him, calling out Woodley of all people.
We'll get into it, though.
Yeah. All right, so real quick, we're going to go recap. We're going to recap Wednesday.
Let's do it.
Fight. First up.
My handy-dandy sidekick.
Yep. Chase Sherman versus
Nueva.
And Chase won at 49 seconds of round 2 with strikes.
Called it.
What did you think of that one?
I called. I mean, it was a low-level heavyweight fights are kind of just a coin flip, so I had a 50% chance of being right. But Chase Sherman with the UFC experience, being a slight favorite, I just kind of rolled with him. You know, I like him. He was another Twitter warrior who kind of fell off Twitter, but he looked good, though. I got to give it to him. That was the best he looked in the UFC by far. I saw his post-fight speech. He was talking to Megan O'Leary, and he said that he thought that getting to the UFC was like it. Like once you're in the UFC, you made it, and then you got to perform, and there was nothing else. But then he was making pretty good money, you know, bare knuckle boxing and doing a couple other things. So he realized that the UFC wasn't his only option, and he felt more comfortable. He's able to fight, fight to his best level, not fight under pressure. And I mean, he looked the best he ever did. So.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. He looked very comfortable in there, whereas Ike kind of looked completely out of place.
Yeah.
He looked like he shouldn't have never been there. And the fact that the line was that close was kind of ridiculous. Chase really.
Yeah, it didn't look like that in there.
No. But next up, we have Brian Boom Kelleher, and the stop on Hunter Azure at round 2 at the 3-minute and 40-second mark. That was my lock, Hunter Azure. He was a pretty sizable favorite, and I have to say I did not see that coming. All the credit in the world to Boom. He deserved that win. He was getting hit with some hard shots. I thought he was losing that fight, and he just came out and clipped Azure, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, all she wrote, man. He looked good doing it, man. And he's been calling out Sean O'Malley for a minute. That's a good fight because Kelleher, you know, he's battle tested. He's he's had some fights in the UFC. I mean, fought Lineker, you know, but he's battle tested. He fought in a lot of other smaller promotions, and he had a lot of fights before he made it to the UFC. So that would be a good test for O'Malley or a coming out party for Brian Kelleher. So.
Yeah, and this is the second fight in a row that Kelleher was an underdog. I think his last fight was like Ide Osborne. This guy was like talking like he was Conor McGregor, saying like remember you said something like he was talking about like, oh, Conor McGregor's going to be on my undercard, and then
I bet, dude.
And Boom put him right out with choke, and then comes out here, knocks out Azure, man. He's on a roll. He
looks good, man. I like that O'Malley fight. I mean, O'Malley's fighting coming up, but I like that fight in the future.
Absolutely. Next up, we had Omar Morales gets a 3-round decision against Gabriel Benitez.
He looked good doing it.
Dude, he looked real good. I mean, he was just a step ahead of Benitez the whole fight. That's
what I mean. There's not much to say about it. He just looked good doing it.
Yeah, and then, props to Benitez for fighting through that horrible, excruciating pain that was on his shin, man. That shin was split open.
Dude. That got the I don't know what word I'm looking for, but like that got the warning, like graphic content.
Yeah.
Advisory on Twitter.
I gotta remember not to click those, man. I get so.
Dude, you can see the bone. You can see the bone.
Yeah.
It hurt. It's one of those things that just hurts. It's like if a picture like that, pictures hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he looked good doing it.
Yeah, excited to see what's up next for him. We got Sijara Eubanks gets the 3-round decision against Sarah Moraz.
Next. Yeah.
Next, we got, this was an interesting one. It was Thiago Moises gets that 2nd-round ankle lock against Michael Johnson after he was getting his shit rocked in the 1st round.
I'm shaking. You're shaking your head. You're like this. I'm like this.
Because you picked Johnson to win, and I picked.
Yeah.
After that 1st round, man, I thought it was all Johnson.
That's what I thought the fight was going to look like.
Yeah, he looked good, man. He really did. But then, just like typical Michael Johnson, 0 ground game, gets caught in something that he panicked. He showed no signs of veteran savvy on the ground, man. He panic tapped. That's a panic tap. And that's look. At this stage in his career, man, come on. You can't be panicking.
Yeah, you can't be doing that, dude. It's not a good look.
No. I mean, like, where does he go from here? You know?
That's what I was just going to say. Like, you made it, like, at this point in his career, which is what it, like, oh, man, he goes from beating Tony Ferguson, knocking out Dustin Poirier, to, like, getting submitted by Thiago Moises in the 2nd round.
I know. Yeah.
Fall from grace.
It really is sad to see, but.
He was I've said this previously on an MMA Gossip podcast, but he was a minus 300, maybe even bigger favorite over Nate Diaz.
Wow, and he got upped.
Beat bad, and that was the famous Conor McGregor call out. You know what I mean? He got beat bad. He was. I remember in the embeddeds, he was, or not the embeddeds, rather, like the pre-fight show. He was riding in Porsches and saying like, "Oh, I'm, this is like I'm on my way to the title, losing Nate Diaz," and it was just like. You know what I mean? So
he's got the stand-up.
I'm a Michael Johnson fan. You know, he's always got entertaining fights, but
he's got the stand-up, man. He's got the stand-up. He got the power, but beyond that,
he's this close to knocking out Gaethje.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but hopefully, that wasn't his last fight in the octagon.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. All right, next up we had Andrei Arlovsky with another touch butt performance against Philippe.
Here we go. Yeah, classic.
Round decision. What'd you think of that one?
Like another one, like you said with Sijara Eubanks. Next, it was just Andrei Arlovsky being Andrei Arlovsky. You know what I mean? Just win 2, lose 1, win 3, lose 3, win 1, beat someone he's not supposed to beat, loses someone he should beat. Yeah. You know what I mean? He just seems to be like they feed it tied to Ivasa, supposed to fight. Like just the up and coming, maybe this guy might be something heavyweight, fight Andrei Arlovsky. You know what I mean?
Yo, props to Arlovsky for pretty much taking any fight that comes his way.
Just sticking around, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Dude, he was champion at UFC 38? Like absurd like that, man.
With the mouthpiece, the pimple mouthpiece, the long hair, the highlights.
I got to give credit where credit's due, but best believe I will be fading Arlovsky
in his next fight,
his career. I can't rely on him, man.
Dude.
Oh, what are you gonna do? All right, next up we have Ricky Simón versus Borg in a split decision. That was a great scrap. What do you think of that one?
I agree. I took Ray Borg in that one. If memory serves me correctly, I chose Borg, and I do think that he lost the fight. Yeah. But hearing a split decision, I was a little surprised. I scored 29-28, and I think it was a clear 29-28 for Ricky Simón. But that was a good fight. That was one of the perfect ones where having no fans was awesome because they were going back and forth. Complete mutual respect, but complete shit talking. It was sick. I love it. Punches landing. They were throwing hard too.
I was surprised, man. Because
you know what I mean? Bantamweight just
was landing.
They were both landing big body shots. You heard the punches. You heard them talking shit. You know what I mean? And then at one point, I remember DC said how big Ricky Simón looked, and Ricky Simón gave this flex.
Yeah.
you heard him. That was funny. Yeah. That's funny.
I think if Ray Borg was a little bit bigger, I feel like Ray Borg's like that in in between weight class. Like
he's a flyweight that can't cut weight.
Exactly. And then like Ricky Simón is like a.
I mean, but then again, Henry Cejudo is also flyweight that can't cut weight. So.
Right. So like I'm still a Ray Borg fan. Like I like.
Hell yeah.
He fights a lot, man. I really hope he comes back and.
Yeah.
Gets like a solid fight at 135. I think he can make waves there. But to Simón, man, like I'm not one to say that I have any like real faith in him to become something. But Simón is It's tough. He's a tough motherfucker, you know?
Yeah, he is. They want him to beat Uriah Faber. You know what I mean? And he failed to do so.
It's like
So
minus 360 favorite over Uriah.
yeah. And if you guys, if you see me keep looking down during the podcast, I don't know if you can see that. I have a blister on my thumb because now I'm a member of the Thick Boy Blight Club. Shout out to Brendan Schaub. I have a blister on my thumb, and I have the worst addicting personality. I'm going to be biting this and picking this until I'm bleeding tonight and regret it tomorrow. So if I keep looking down, that's why.
Life of a fighter, man. Life of a fighter. All right, next up we had Drew Dober stops Alexander Hernandez in the second round with strikes, and it was hard to watch.
That was bad. It was over before it was over.
Yeah, man, it was hard to watch. I mean, good stoppage by the referee. Could have been stopped earlier, man. He was getting mollywopped bad. Yo, I didn't believe in Drew Dober when he fought in his last fight against Hapcrast. I didn't even.
And we both picked against him this time too, correct?
Yeah, we both picked Alexander Hernandez, but Drew Dober, man, veteran savvy, comes out there with awesome stand-up, like the action figure he is. Just
both of them, though.
Yeah, both of them.
They were competing for best bodies.
Yeah, that's all it was. Dober.
Drew won.
Yep.
No, he looked really good doing it. I'm curious to see who he fights next, man. I mean,
I was about to say, I'm curious as what happens to Alexander Hernandez, man.
Both ways. I mean, Hernandez, I think beating Beneil Dariush was the best thing and the worst thing that happened to him because, you know, he got stardom, he got paid, so good for him. You know, he got a name for himself immediately. He just burst onto the scene, and everyone's like, oh my God, he knocked out Beneil Dariush. And it was quick, it was vicious, and it's like, okay, springboard him into the top 15. And now he's just fighting UFC hard vets. Like fighting Cowboy in like your third UFC fight is not ever going to work out for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think he just needs to take a step back. And it's not a bad step back. It's just, dude, he's still young. You know, you just got knocked out pretty badly. You know, Cowboy stopped him too. He beat Francisco Trinaldo in a fight that I don't think he won. So it's just like, dude, take a step back. You know, take a tune-up fight. Fight someone in the top 25. You know what I mean? Get that win. Get some more confidence. I mean, he's pretty confident, but you know, in octagon confidence is different than just brash talking. You know what I mean? Because he was on the back foot almost that whole fight. He didn't land. I don't remember him landing anything really significant. Like Drew Dober's on the attack the whole time. I mean, training with Justin Gaethje will do that to you, but you know,
I stand by what I said. I think I said this in the last podcast. I just think like that loss to Cerrone like kind of took a part of his soul. Like came back and fought Trinaldo. Like he was a 100% different fighter, and I didn't think like maybe he definitely should have changed his fight style a little bit after losing to Cerrone. But he was a totally revamped defensive like point striker as opposed to what he was before that, which is an oppressive brawler that
that's
your clock.
That's what I mean with just get a little tune-up fight, dude. Get your confidence back. Come out of the gates firing and get a nice win again, and then you know what I mean. Then take on someone in the top 15 again. Get your name right back. Because, I mean, there's no way he's still in the top 15. I think he was 15th. If memory serves me right, he was 15th when he going into that fight, and getting stopped like that is not helping your cause.
No.
So maybe he just fell out of the top 15. Drew Dober, I'm curious to see who he fights next. Someone in the top 10.
I know.
I should pull up the lightweight rankings and see a good fight for him. That would be good. I'm actually going to do that. Let me pull up the lightweight rankings and see who a good fight for Drew Dober would be going next. We could move on. I'm just curious. I want to play matchmaker. Do a little Sean Shelby action right now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, next up we had like a kind of okay, decent, really didn't need it kind of fight between Ben Rothwell and OSP. Split decision win for Ben Rothwell. I mean,
that they were fighting for the most bizarre matchup on the card.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't have much to say about this fight. Except the fact that OSP came in heavy.
He's part of the Thick Boys Bike Club, dude. He was like Snickers thick. He looked horrible.
Yeah, he looked like he didn't train for this fight.
I also think that, like, which I had mentioned on the last podcast, I think Ben Rothwell is so used to fighting big boys that OSP wasn't even one of the quote-unquote big boys. He looked like a 205er that just didn't cut weight, literally. That's what he looked like. You know what I mean? He didn't look like a natural heavyweight.
No.
I'm looking at the lightweight rankings right now. And so if they have it, it's Gaethje, obviously not, Ferguson, Poirier, McGregor, Dan Hooker, who's actually booked against Poirier, Felder, who Drew Dober called out, which would be an awesome
Oh,
fight.
that's a solid
We're sitting there at 6. Oliveira at 7, sneakily up in the number 7, which would be a good fight for him.
I like
Kevin
that.
Lee's at 8, but he just had surgery.
Yeah, he's out for
Iaquinta at 9, but I don't know if Iaquinta would take someone like Dober. Iaquinta now kind of seems like he needs a name to take a fight. But that would be a good fight, too.
I feel like
Diego Ferreira at 10. Gregor Gillespie jumping up 3 spots in the rankings to 11 would be another good fight.
Yeah.
Islam Makhachev at 12. Cowboys still ranked at 13. And then there's – so here's the updated rankings. Drew Dober is sitting at 14 now. He was not ranked. Now he's 14. And speaking of Beneil Dariush, he's 15.
There we go.
So Drew Dober actually has lost to Beneil Dariush when they fought. And Hernandez obviously knocked out Dariush, but Dariush has been on a little roll himself.
He has, man. Yeah, I think that's the matchup to make, 14 and 15 right there.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Now we get to the main event. Hard to watch.
Crazy. Hard to watch.
Glover Teixeira does what he does and continues to defy odds makers and beats Anthony Smith's ass. Beats his ass.
That was the exact opposite of how I saw the fight going. I saw Anthony Smith doing that. After the first round, I was like, oh, this fight is over.
Yeah. First round was all Smith. And then, okay.
He gassed. At the end of the second round, he was kind of gassed.
Yeah. What was up with that? I mean, I don't know. Again, how can we discredit Glover, man?
I was just going to say, I don't want to take anything away from him.
Probably UFC Hall of Famer at this point in his career, man, with all the shit he's accomplished and then some. Like, he's still got a road ahead of him. Like, he's not going to be champion, but, like, he's knocking people off hitting left and right. He just knocked off a contender in Anthony Smith,
Who do you think he fights next?
Glover? Oh, man.
Dude, he's legitimately, like, 1 win away from fighting for the belt.
I know. It's nuts, man. It's really nuts. Ooh, what about Magomed Ankalaev? I think that'd be cool.
Oh, that would be cool.
I think that's a solid scrap right there because that's like Ankalaev is on like a 6-fight win streak. Just beat Iwan Kutalaba.
I think they got to run that back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if they run that back, I think dude. He's legitimately 1 away from the title. He could fight someone like. I'm trying to think. Who could he fight? Who would be good for him at top of the division? So are they booking Jan and John Jones? Is that like Blachowicz kind of has a fight, or are they going with this Ngannou thing, which I don't believe at all?
I don't think they're going with the Ngannou thing because
I'm not buying into that hype.
Nah, it sounds like Jones wants too much money or some BS like that. It sounds more like obviously the most preferred route would be Dominic Reyes rematch because that's what Dominic Reyes deserves. I thought he won that fight. But if it is Jan, that's the worst of the three. If it's Ngannou, Jan, and Dominic Reyes, Jan would least.
I agree.
Be the best.
What was your opinion on the stoppage of this fight?
I mean, I'm always going to sympathize with the fighter because he wants to go out and shield, especially somebody like Anthony Smith. Like, how can I blame him for wanting to continue to fight?
I'm happy you said that because I'm always on that side, dude. I always am like when the media is like, oh my God, the referee made such a bad stoppage. It's like, dude, I know the fighter is, they say like, oh, your corner should be responsible, but his corner's taking a lot of heat for not for no reason. Like Anthony Smith came out after and said he wanted to be in that fight and he would do it again. Like all these fighters want to go out on their shield. I want to die in it. Like Deontay Wilder almost fired. I mean, he didn't, but he almost fired his cornerman for throwing in the towel in this fight. You know what I mean? Like, if it comes into that, I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, if you want to go out on your shield, go out on your shield. Like, that's what the sport's all about. Like, it's a brutal sport. It's a vicious sport. You know what I mean? I guarantee. And the funny thing to me, when this always happens, I get like mad about this almost. If just say Anthony Smith threw like a haymaker right hand while he was trying to survive, clipped Glover and finished him, no one would be talking about a remote corner stoppage. Everyone would be talking about how awesome of a comeback it was, or have a totally different narrative.
Dude, think about that Czech Congo Pat Barry fight.
Pat Barry fight, yes.
Congo was literally unconscious multiple times in the fight and then comes back and wins.
Dude.
You can't – no, I agree with Anthony Smith. He did what he wanted to do. long as he could. He's a warrior. And then like he put that picture up on Instagram. He goes, I'm okay. I'm fine. This is how I wanted it to go down. I wouldn't have changed the damn thing.
Yeah, you don't got to tell me, but I completely agree with you, man. I'm on your side with that.
I'm glad we are. All right, you set up the Overeem versus.
That's what I'm doing, pulling it up now. I got it up. And the MMA gods are very, very cruel, man.
Very, very cruel. Unforgiving.
Unforgiving.
There is no fairy
tale. It's
tale.
an unforgiving sport, man.
None. But first up, we had Rodrigo Nascimento versus Deontay Mays. And I think you chose Mays and I chose Nascimento.
I did.
And Rodrigo, took his back, choked his ass out. Silly. Not much to say there.
Not much to say. Another low-level heavyweight fight.
Yeah. And next up, we had Courtney Casey with a rare finish on her.
Dude,
resume.
I was just going to say, first round stoppage at that, too.
And it was a sick armbar. She looked slick.
Dude, that's one of the ones where I'm, like, hammering the over. 2.5 over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is the time when you go up, you go take a shit because you're like, okay, come back to this in 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
I come back and then it's a split decision, 29. And then, but more props to Courtney Casey, who I'm not high on at all. I'm not high on Barella either, but good for Casey to get the nice sub win. Next up, we have, oh my God, this weirdo. I don't know if I like him, Nate Landwehr. Versus.
Dude, we're on the same page. And just so everybody knows, me and Mike, we talk throughout the week, obviously, about things, but when we come to podcast specific, we save our opinions so we have, a natural reaction live. And it's hilarious because we're on the same page, dude. I am not a Nate Landwehr fan.
Dude, weird dude, man. He was just like saying weird shit in the cages. He's trying to do like, brag in front of Darren Elkins. Like, come on, dude. Darren Elkins isn't that kind of person. He's there to fight. And I think you can make the case that this was a bad decision. I thought that Elkins, even obviously his face was like dismantled, but like,
right.
You could make the argument he won 2 rounds. Really. I really thought that. But
I completely agree. And Nate Landwehr, he's like, what do you say? Blood, sweat, good hands. It's like Nate Landwehr, you're like, chill, dude.
Dude, he's got like a weird bowl cut. He looks like a killer from like The Silence of the Lambs, like some fucking dude.
It was an entertaining fight. I'm not saying it wasn't an entertaining fight. Darren Elkins just being Darren Elkins, getting split open, just surviving, kind of just sticking in there. But it wasn't a fight where Nate Landwehr, put Darren Elkins away and like went crazy on the post-fight speech. Like, sick, dude. Weirdo.
Yeah, not much. That's it. That's all I got for that one. But next up, we have Giga Chikadze goes up against late replacement Erwin in a 3-round decision. Giga looked good, as he should have, because he had all this time to prep. But Erwin Rivera, tough SOB, man. He's a tough son.
Tough as nails, dude.
Yeah.
He's getting hit with knees, kicks, elbows, obviously punches. He was eating it all, coming back, making the most of it. That is a dude who I think Bisping was calling fights, I believe. But anyway, someone said live that that's someone they want to see come in on a full camp. And I remember saying live watching, I was like, I share the exact same sentiment. Like, I would love to see him come back. Tough dude. I believe he trains at Henry Hoos, I think, 365. So he would be an awesome person to see fight on a full camp. You know what I mean? With a game plan, and he's tough as hell. And was he fighting up a weight class? He might be a bantamweight. I believe he's a bantamweight.
Yeah. And I want to say one thing that I think you'll agree with. So Giga was originally a plus 175 going up against, was it Mike Davis?
Yeah, Mike Davis.
And look how good Giga looked in his stand-up, man. He's so crisp, man. And
he's so good.
Like when he doesn't have to grapple, man, he's a fucking striker and a half, man. He looks.
Yeah, I don't think he has a finish in the UFC yet, but he's known as a finisher. So I'm curious, Erwin Rivera is literally tough as they come. So not finishing him, there's no shame in that. Yeah. But I want to see Giga, get a couple finishes. He's known as a finisher, and he's been talking about that. Like, he's been hyping up the fact that he's trying to get a finish.
Yeah. So I'd like to see him hopefully get that fight again with Mike Davis in this future. I'd love to see that stand-up affair for sure. All right, next up we have Kevin, who just dropped out today, Holland, versus Anthony Fluffy who I picked, Hernandez.
Yeah, I rode with Kevin Holland. I love Kevin Holland, man.
Man, Fluffy looked like shit. I have nothing to say, man. He got hit by like what seemed to be not much of a power punch and just went down, curled up, and Holland just.
And Holland isn't. I believe his fight this week is at 170, correct?
I'm not. He was fighting. Who was fighting?
I think he was supposed to be at 170.
No, I forget. Anyway, yeah, something happened with his shoulder today. He had some sort of shoulder injury.
And he was still trying to fight, but he couldn't get cleared medically. So it wasn't even him pulling out. Like, that's why I like this dude, bro. Not only fighting within 14 days, fighting with an injury, and the only reason he's not is because he couldn't get medically cleared.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fighter to the end. He's
a
fighter probably in the world that would fight twice in quarantine in 2 weeks. He's a stud, man. I got to give him credit. Fluffy just fell down my radar so far, man. He's going to have to work his way back up, man, because that was a poor performance, man.
Yeah, he didn't look good.
Bro. Shave that mustache. You look like an idiot.
Please.
Oh, this is a good one. Miguel Baeza finishes Matt Brown in round 2 in a stunning finish after he was almost fucked up in the first round, man. That was a scrap. What do you think about that one?
Dude, that was an awesome fight. Like, awesome. That was a typical Matt Brown fight. I mean, he retired once or twice already, and I'd like to see Matt Brown stay retired. Like, he's just such a legend. But he's had so many of those fights. Remember, like, the Eric Silva fight? How many times did Matt Brown get hurt with body shots in that fight? Kicks, and he stopped Eric Silva in the 3rd round, I believe. Yeah. But it was just a Matt Brown fight, but Matt Brown just doesn't have that. You know, he's getting older now, and these younger guys like Miguel Baeza, like they're clearly trying to push him. He said he idolizes Matt Brown when he was young, coming up. He was idolizing Matt Brown, and Matt Brown's still around. You know what I mean? I mean, he looked good. Matt Brown didn't look bad, but I don't need to see Matt Brown still fighting. You know what I mean? He's a savage, and like I'll rewatch his fights a million times. Fights with Robbie Lawler and stuff. I'll watch those a million times. He beat Wonder Boy. You know what I mean? Like savage, but.
Yo, Father Time catches up with everybody, man. That's it. You know, that's man. Like, he's still got the skill. I mean, he's still as tough, mentally tough as he possibly can be, but he just can't take the shots anymore. That's it.
Yeah. That's how it goes, man.
All right, here we go. I think maybe possibly biggest robbery of quarantine so far. We got Song Yadong getting over Marlon Vera, who I was very high on. And
I picked him too.
And that was just really bad decision. You know,
I had it 29-28 the other way. And it was kind of crazy that it was unanimous to me.
Yeah. I just think Marlon Vera, okay, we make this argument all the time, and I know this is kind of a void argument because it's only 3 rounds. But if that was a 5-round fight, Marlon Vera wins that fight. And then you got the whole Nate Diaz argument, man. It's like, look at your face, look at my face, look how I fight, stuff like that. And I get that argument, man. Marlon Vera put the fucking hurt on him, man. He made Song Yadong look bad in the 3rd round,
He brought the fight to him.
Yeah, and then that's Vera's strong suit, man. He'll go for days, man. He's a pressure fighter, put it on you, man. And Song gets tired, man. He gets tired.
Yeah. I don't think that for like the loss, I don't think hurts Marlon Vera in any way. His stock, I don't think gets diminished in any way by that, especially taking a fight during quarantine, and Dana White's eyes, anyone that's taking these fights, their stock rising to begin with. And putting on a performance like that, I think it was a good fight. And I kind of think the sentiment was that he got robbed. Like I know Jorge Masvidal, amongst others, tweeted that he got robbed. So, when he's getting notification, not notification, but notoriety from people like that,
Yeah. And not to mention, great fucking fight, man. Great. Yeah.
Next up, my boy, your boy.
Yeah. Eric Anders loses a 3-round decision to Krzysztof Joko. And for those of you that think that Joko lost his chin, man, I mean, he looked good, man. Real good at that.
Anders is a big boy, dude. Playing linebacker at Alabama is no joke. You know what I mean? Fighting, and now he's fighting at middleweight. Middleweight is Anders looks more like a natural middleweight. He looks a little fluffy at 205. So I like seeing him back at 185. But I mean, I picked him, and I'm a big Anders fan, but I think he clearly lost this one.
Yeah, it was a pretty lopsided decision. Anders didn't look like bad by any means, but he just got beat. You know, it looked like
Right.
a mixed martial artist was fighting like a newer, greener guy that still has a lot of potential, a lot of room to grow, you know?
Right. I completely agree. Eric Anders is one of those guys, though, where he's like this quarantine fighting. Like I said this about Kevin Holland, but Eric Anders is like, he's down. He's just down to fight. You know what I mean? He fought Thiago Santos on like a week notice, up a weight class. So this dude is not afraid to fight anyone. He'll fight anytime. He's this quarantine situation, not having a normal gym or anything like that. He's thriving in it. I think this is perfect for him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. Stock still rises from this fight for sure.
Yeah.
And I like to see Joko back in the mix at 185. Like, I like to see him up there, man. I think he can really pose a lot of problems for a lot of people. Next up was my lock, who I thought lost. Dan.
I don't necessarily think I could see why people think he won. Oh, I mean, he won. So I don't, you know what I mean? But if Edson Barbosa won, I would have had the exact same feeling. You know what I mean? I don't think that there was I guess I was definitely nervous for you and me because we both took him. Going into the decision, I kind of felt that they were going to give Barbosa the nod. And Barbosa, I've never seen him. He was like adamant that he won that fight, which, I mean, I do think Edson Barbosa won the fight, but I'm not mad because your lock won.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I told pretty much everybody I know, if you're putting money down on one fight, put it on Ige. So I'm happy I don't have a lot of people mad at me. But it was just a case. Mad at you. Yeah, it was just a case. I think Ige finished strong, so definitely looks better for him there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just don't like to see these. I don't like to see these bad decisions, man. These judges suck, regardless of the fact that who has money on who and this, that, and the other thing. At the end of the day, it's a sport that we love, and the fact that these decisions are being poorly made, it's a black mark on the sport. And UFC as an organization, man, do something about it. And they got another thing I want to talk to you about real quick.
Go off, Mikey. Go off.
There's another thing is these judges, man. I feel like the judges should be maybe not known retired fighters, but I feel like if you were a fighter, you should be the judge, man, because if you've never grappled before and if you've never been in the sport, you never competed in the sport, man, I can't rely on you as a judge. And then some people don't think that there would be a lot of bias with fighters becoming judges, but at the end of the day, how do you know that these judges aren't biased already? I mean, everybody is biased. You can't eliminate bias, but you can still, take a step back from a non-biased perspective per se as best you can. And you need somebody that's knowledgeable about the sport making these scorecards, man, because it is atrocious, man. Speaking of which, the next fight, the Claudia Gadelha fight, man, I thought she lost.
Yeah, my lock.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a black mark on the sport. It's a black mark on the organization, man. I feel like it's not talked about enough.
I think that a big thing that I've been saying for a while is, so with boxing, we as MMA, MMA as a sport took a lot from boxing. The 3 judges is something we took from boxing, the 10-9-8, the 10-point must system. And I think that in MMA, there's just more going on than just boxing. Like in boxing, it's, punches landed, punches thrown, so ring activity and ring control. Where in mixed martial arts, there's punches, knees, elbows, kicks, takedowns, a whole bunch of different grappling exchanges. So I think that there should be maybe 5 judges, because a lot of times when it's a split decision, it's 29-28. It's 2 judges, whereas if there's 5, you'd have to have 3 judges kind of be iffy on a fight, and they could sit at all different points of the octagon, which I know they already do, but you'd have a broader presence around the octagon. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that if you had 5 judges, there would be much less split decisions and much more unanimous feelings, the universal feeling of the one true winner, if that makes sense. Where Verdict MMA, it's a global scorecard. I don't want fucking morons from their couch, where takedown, stand them up. I don't need some fucking moron like that scoring the fight. You know what I mean? So that's where I think a global scorecard, like Joe Rogan's a big part of that. I think that's where that kind of falls off. But if they had even if the UFC does anything live, which would be cool, if fighters volunteered, if they volunteered maybe 20 or 30 fighters just for the night, had to score, even if they just did it for the main card where 20 fighters scored each fight, just to see how accurate the judges were. You know what I mean? Where like guys like Masvidal was saying, the Marlon Vera fight, if 20 other current active UFC fighters scored that fight, I wonder how many scored it from Marlon Vera, for example.
Yeah, I would love to know. I feel like that's the only problem I have with these judges is that we don't know who they are, and I know we're not supposed to really know much about them, but I want them to be experienced in the
for
sport.
Sure.
Yeah, and I feel like they're not. They're making really poor decisions.
Like guys like Frank Trigg, Chris Lieben, for example, are becoming referees. I think that ex-fighters like that should become judges as well.
I think so too, man. But biased aside, I really, if they were being paid to become judges, they would make accurate decisions. I really do.
What do you think about not to keep harping on this, but like an open scoring system? I'm not as big on that because MMA is a different sport where like I just feel like, especially like in a title fight, say like you fight different. Like if you knew you're up 3 rounds to 1 and all you gotta do is coast in the 5th round.
Yeah.
No one you like I almost said MMA is a spectator sport. You know what I mean? It's an entertainment. It's entertainment just as much as it is a sport. So people want to see, you fight just as hard in the 5th round. No one wants to see you just backpedaling where you just throwing haymakers. I also think it could work against you where if you're up 3-1 championship fight and you're kind of taking your foot off the gas pedal because you think you got to win, this dude that you're fighting, the challenger, say, is just going to come out with absolutely reckless abandon, and it just changes the dynamic of the sport. So I'm not a big fan. Like I know Max Holloway. I mean, he already forgot more about fighting than I'll ever know. He's a big proponent of it. He said he would even fight in the first open scoring bout, which I would totally be open to watching it and seeing how it goes. I have an open mind to pretty much anything, but I just think it would be weird, especially in 5-round fights.
I agree. I do think that I would love to watch one just to see how it goes down. But at the end of the day, like, no, I don't like the fact that if you're up 3-1 and you think you can coast, like, because like you have one guy coasting, the other guy's gonna become a barbarian and try to cut your head off.
Right.
But the thing that needs to be changed is the judging needs to be accurate. If the judging is accurate, there's no reason for an open scorecard.
Right.
But can you imagine, let's say there was an open scorecard on the Ige Barbosa fight or the Claudia Angela Hill fight. I feel like in that kind of situation, maybe
where it's beneficial.
But it should never come to that.
Right.
It shouldn't come to that. It should be good quality judging and no open scoring. That's ideally. And
I've seen people saying that they're a proponent of like an automation, almost like AI judging the fights, and I don't like that at all. I mean, I get there's human error and you're gonna lose it, but I don't like that at all. Like you type in, this dude had 3 takedowns and landed 50 significant strikes, but did he, just because he got a takedown, did he do anything with the takedown? I guess you could. There's mathematicians way smarter than me, and you could take like control, like top control from the ground, but I'm so against that. I'd be way more open to an open scoring system before I had AI scoring fights.
No shot.
No AI. I agree. I'm happy you said that too. We're on the same page here, Mike. Yeah, so we got a podcast, dude.
Yeah, man. we just love the sport, and it's best for the sport, man. That's it.
That's what I mean, man. I agree. Here we go. I know you're running the ship, but next up, dude, we have another perfect example, like we were just saying.
A bad decision. Angela Hill, who I thought won. I picked Claudia to win, and here I am thinking that.
Yeah.
And
your lock was Ige, mine was Claudia, dude. So both of our locks just got by. So I'm not mad about it by any means, but I'm just saying this is two perfect examples right here.
Yeah, and then Angela Overkill Hill just doing her thing, saying she'll fight next week. She'll fight Fight Island. And Claudia just looks like, someone who's maybe fighting for a paycheck at this point. Like, she's got the skill, she's good. But, I mean, I think she lost, And Angela Hill
There was a time when it was just her and Joanna was the strawweight division.
Yeah.
It was really like, just let them fight every 3 months and just see who the better fighter is. He was beating Claudia. Remember, she was up 2-0 in their title fight, and that was clear 2-0 in their rematch. And then she just, Claudia's got no gas tank, and I picked her as my lock. I took her at -160, which was actually awesome because she went all the way up to -225. But that shows to me like a lot of she should have won that fight way more clearly. Like in no way did I ever see Angela Hill beating her, which I think she did. But anyway, I just feel like Claudia Gadelha is such a better fighter than Angela Hill. And Claudia's at the point, like what you said, it looks like she's just fighting for a paycheck, dude. Looks like she's just coasting. Like, she hasn't, her skill set's been exactly the same, and strawweights are evolving. Like, I don't think she's ever going to be at the top of the division again.
No, I don't really see that happening, especially.
She's an absolute gatekeeper now.
Yeah, if she stays on this roll where she just like goes for a takedown, okay, stand up, and then gasses in the third round, she'll never be more than between 10 and 15. I mean, that's being generous, I think. Like, I don't know. What are you going to do? I mean, she's
let me see. Yeah, as of the 19th, she's still number 6 in the rankings, but I just think she's only going down.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if she lost to Angie Hill, like, you're automatically basically out of the top 10, right?
You got to be.
You know what I mean? And I'm going to see how – she's only 31, but that's all. I was looking to see how old she was, but in MMA years, she's far beyond that.
Yeah, she's got a lot of miles.
So.
All right, you want to get to this brutal main event?
Not really.
So we got Alistair Overeem, round 2, finishes Walt Harris with TKOs. I thought he was being very – I don't know. I don't think generous is the word for it, but I think he realized that no one really wanted to see Walt Harris get his breaks beat. So he's just kind of tapping him and mount, like waiting for the ref to stop it kind of thing.
Yeah.
I got to say, man, Walt Harris, he looks like a lost puppy on the ground, man. Like in the first round, he blew his load, man. He came out in the second round, he was gassed. And then when he went to the ground with Overeem, when he got caught with that punch and got dropped, he looked – like he shouldn't even been in the UFC, man. I hate saying that, man.
Who was the referee in that fight? Was it Mergliata?
I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
I was just gonna say if it was Mergliata, like honestly, when Walt Harris dropped over him in the first round, he should have just jumped in and stopped it.
I know.
just been like, it's over.
I know.
But it was
like
close.
we said, there's no Cinderella stories in this sport, man. None.
Nope. No one cares.
No one cares,
handled
man.
it Overeem handled it like Overeem does. He's awesome. He's a legend. Immediately he went over to we should train together. Walt Harris took, I don't think his stock dropped either. I mean, he rocked over him. He was 5 seconds away from winning the fight in the first round.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, after watching that fight, that's one of those fights where, like, hypothetically, they had a rematch, Overeem would be a big favorite.
Yeah, as he should be.
Yeah, he just is like levels ahead on the ground. I mean, Overeem, if you really compare their style, Overeem's over the hill, but he's a better striker too.
Yeah, and dude, he's a master of planning his game plan. He's a master game plan.
Yeah.
Fights, man. He knows how to fight specific opponents. I said that last week, and I got to give him props there.
Mm-hmm.
And Walt Harris, man, I mean, you're not getting any younger, man, and you got to fix that ground game problem, bro. And it's enough not to blow your load in the first round. I mean, like, who am I? Who the fuck am I? I'm standing behind this keyboard telling you just lost your dog.
Oh, dude.
Who am I?
Yeah, that's our job, though, dude.
That's our job, man. I'm taking this as a job, so we didn't do
Yeah.
I wish him the best, man, and I can't wait to see him again. Let's just leave it at that,
Honestly, dude, Walt Harris is just a good dude, and like, I'm not just saying this because, he lost his daughter. Everyone knows that story. And people were getting mad, like, oh, the UFC is trying to promote that he lost his daughter and worked it. I mean, it's part of the storyline, you know what I mean? He's not trying to promote it. But he's a good dude before, during, and after that whole saga. And Dana White handled it like a boss, like the boss man does.
Yeah.
I think they live in Alabama, and the police department only put up like $10,000 for to find her, and Dana White put up like $100,000.
Yeah.
For any news and stuff. So he handled it like man does, yeah. And Walt Harris calls him Unc, like Uncle Dana, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. But he's promotable, Walt Harris, and he'll be back. Again, It's another one of those fights where, like his stock went down a little bit because his ground game got exposed big time. But he's a big heavyweight. He's going to come in, and I'm sure in one of his next fights, he's going to get a big first round knockout again. So he'll be right back at it. You know what I mean?
I hope they spoon feed him someone like, I don't know, Ike Villanueva or something like bomb. Just for Walt Harris to just blow his ass up and just
put him away.
That W on his chest, man. I really do wish him the best, man. I can't wait to see him again.
Me as well.
You ready to hit this upcoming Saturday's card?
I am more than ready, dude. Let's do it.
All right, my dude. First up, we got Chris Gutierrez, an LFA guy, going up against Vince Morales. And I'm just going to throw this right off the bat. I'm going to take Vince Morales as my lock this week.
That's so, dude. Look, I'm going to pull up my notes right here.
Don't tell me that's your lock, dude.
It was going to be, look.
No way.
Dude,
that's crazy.
Like we said before, boys, me and Mike don't discuss this before. We just get down to business when we do the podcast. But I'll explain why I like him real quick. I just thought it was important to note also, Mike, that they're finally fighting in Vegas. They're at the Apex Center for these fights.
Yeah.
This is no longer in Jacksonville. This is live in the Apex Center. They're stepping up their coronavirus COVID-19 testing, and it's going to be stricter. All the fighters got emailed and like what's going on. It's like new instructions, and it's going to be a lot more in depth. I think they're just trying to please the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Yeah. But like Dana White's saying, he's like, dude, if we could do this in Jacksonville, Florida, we could do this right outside our office. It's going to be, or in our office, really. It's going to be much easier, and he says it's going to make the process much smoother, which I agree with. I mean, I could totally see his thinking on that, but I just thought it was important to note that they're back. UFC on ESPN 9, baby, in the Apex Center. I'm pumped. Yeah. I'm pumped to see them put the Apex Center to work, man.
I'm pumped too, man. Real quick.
It's funny that you said so.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to ask, isn't the Apex Center cage a little smaller than the normal cage? Do we know if
it's a little bit smaller? It's one of so fun fact, there are smaller cages in smaller venues. So like on the TV, they're good at kind of camouflaging it, but it is a little tiny bit smaller, which is why originally they were supposed to have Ngannou and Rosenstruik in the smaller cage. They were like, everyone's like, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Those are big boys for a little cage, but it is a little bit smaller.
Interesting. Okay, go ahead, continue.
No, so I was just gonna say Vince Morales. So I'm gonna have to pick a different lock. You got dibs on him first, dude. That's pretty funny. What did you like about him? Like, what'd you like? I have a couple things noted.
So what I think I like about him is that he's gonna be a forward pressure guy, and then fighting a guy like Gutierrez, who seems to be more of a defensive guy. I just think that Vince is gonna put the pressure on him. I think it's gonna be a little bit too much for Gutierrez, and I think Morales has got way more experience, man. He fought Song Yadong.
That's exactly what I was going on, dude. Song Yadong, he fought Zabi's brother. He fought Benito Lopez.
Yeah.
So, those are three. Welcome to the UFC, bud. You know what I mean? And he's the underdog in this fight.
Exactly, which is why, obviously I'm going to be putting a little bit of bills on him.
I'm super high on him too, man.
Yeah. So, that's my lock. I think Gutierrez, he just fights way too defensive.
We got to upgrade the soundboard.
I don't think Gutierrez is anything special, man. He's got a couple good wins on his record, but against no one really, notable. I guess Geraldo is okay, and it was a split decision. I lost that fight. So I just think Vince is going to come out here. I think this is going to be his staple fight. This is what's going to get people to notice him, and I hope he gets a finish. I think
I agree, man.
He's got that fighting spirit inside of him. He's got that.
Yeah, dude. I agree.
All right, man. Next up, we got Luis Smolka, who's been around the block a few times, going up against Casey Kenny, who I've always been high on. What do you got in this one?
I'm gonna go on Casey Kenny. I mean, I gotta look at the odds. I don't have the odds up, but I'm sure Casey Kenny's a sizable favorite.
Minus 300.
Right? No way.
300.
Holy crap. I thought it was going to be minus 180 at least, minus 181, minus 190, but minus 300, that's unplayable. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't see him losing.
No way. I mean, Smolka.
He's one of those guys you just throw into a parlay with a little extra juice.
That's what 100%. Actually, that's part of my parlay lock for later, dude.
There you go, Mikey's picks.
But it looks like Smolka's throwing in slow motion, bro. And his skills are so average, man. He's got the heart, but that's not going to get you many play. I mean, if you don't have the skill to back it up, man, you don't got it. Casey Kenny's going to be faster everywhere, better grappling, I would be surprised if he subs him out, at some point. Like, I just think it's going to be total.
That's how your boy, what's his name, got complete notoriety in the UFC. What's his name? The Mexican that you love, Mexican bantamweight with all the tattoos. He lost on Tough early, came back, sub Louis Smolka at the Tough finale. He fought Askar Askarov.
Oh my God,
dude! I'm just looking at his face in my head.
Oh
Baby-faced.
Baby-faced assassin. What the hell is his name?
Yeah, what the fuck's his name?
That's his nickname. We know his nickname.
He's like your favorite fighter in the UFC.
I know. I love him. I had him winning against what the hell's his name?
Dude, this just happened.
Oh my God, he just beat Jussier Formiga.
Yeah, I know. Brandon Moreno,
babyface Moreno. Love him. Yeah.
I just thought I was gonna look it up and I didn't. I swear to God, ladies and gentlemen,
he was a minus 500 over Moreno in that fight, Smolka.
No way.
Yeah, dude. Back then.
He got subbed in like a minute, right?
Yeah, with the guillotine.
With the guillotine, real quick.
Yeah, go figure.
But anyway, yeah. So moral story: Casey Kenny all the way.
Casey Kenny all the way. Put him in all your parlay. Put him in all your DraftKings lineups. All right. Next up, we got. I got a hot take on this one after you break it down. But it's Tim Elliott fighting Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Go ahead.
Interesting. I mean, Tim Elliott still doing it. 500 record basically. No, I'm looking, but like, I remember people were picking him. They were like, "Oh, everyone loves to hear the underdog story because they had nothing to lose." But like, when people were picking Tim Elliott to beat Mighty Mouse, like I was losing my mind, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, there is not only no chance in fucking hell. There was some epic scrambles in that fight, but let's be real here. But in this fight, again, I gotta pull the odds up, but Tim Elliott's a favorite, right?
Yes, and that's gonna bring me to my point, but continue.
I knew that's what you're gonna, dude. I'm on. Let me hear. What do you gotta say?
So, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Tim Elliott's a minus 190, and if you lay the chalk on Tim Elliott at minus 190, you deserve to lose all your money. He is a poor fight IQ. He's probably might even miss weight, man. It's happened before.
Was his last fight, did he get smoked by Figueiredo, or has he fought since then?
That was before that. He got pretty much smoked by Askar Askarov, put him to shame. Like,
oh, yeah.
Around. But my point being is poor fight IQ. He thought he was fighting like he thought he was winning, man. Just like bragging, doing all this braggadocious bullshit in the octagon, man. And Askar's deaf. Askar's 90% deaf. Like
deaf, I know.
And then Askar just did what he did, man. Askar's a great grappler, solid fighter, man. I'm excited to see what he comes with in the future. And he just laid the hurt on him. And then before that, like you said, he got blasted by Figueiredo. I mean, like, why is he a minus 190?
Blasted. That looked painful, dude. That was like a beating.
So the only thing I really got on this Brandon Royval guy is that he has a 23-second win in his LFA fight prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
Like a crazy, 23-second fight, and he looked amazing on the ground, man. His transitions, he transitioned from a omoplata to an armbar to a triangle back to an armbar, in 23 seconds, and subbed the guy out. It was sick. And off of that, and based off the fact that Tim Elliott shouldn't be a favorite, is the reason why I'm laying the chalk at plus 150 on Brandon Royval.
I feel that, dude. I was going to say, so that's perfect. I watched that clip actually because I looked it up. I was like, holy shit. So I watched the clip, and because of those transitions, and Elliott can scramble his ass off too, even though, he's up there in age. I'm curious to see what this guy Royval's got as well, and I'm definitely going to pick him as well. But I think it could be, it could be one of those interesting fights where it's a perfect quarantine fight. Like I keep saying this, but dude, this is you know what I mean? It's just, it's like I said before, it's entertainment as much as the sport, and I think that people who like fights on the ground, I think a lot of this could take place on the ground. It'd be interesting to watch.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for this bout. I really am, just as much
Me too.
as any other bout. So yeah, I'm picking Brandon Royval for the plus odds, and I'm mostly picking him because I just can't trust Tim Elliott.
Right.
But next up, we got Jamal Hill, who I picked to win in his last fight versus Darko Stosic, because I think Stosic is kind of a bum. Jamal Hill is, Dana White Contender Series guy, athletic guy, is going up against Klidson Abreu, who's I think has been a little bit unlucky in the octagon. What do you think?
I agree. I like Hill. Obviously, they always push those guys, but I don't know what. I like Hill. I'm going to ride with him on this one. But this is one of those fights where, this is a weird one. I don't know too much about either one of these guys, but I know that they try to push the Contender Series guys.
Oh, yeah. I do agree that they think they want Jamal Hill to win. I agree.
Right. That's what I go – my two keys, if you're on the Contender Series, they want you to win. And the Contender Series gets a lot of viewership, and they try to transition that into the UFC, obviously. And Jamal Hill, he has the look. You know what I mean? He's got the look, and coming from the Contender Series, they're trying to promote you. So, and being like one of these lower level prelim fights on ESPN, the eyes are going to be on you because you're on ESPN as well. So I think they're just going to try to promote him. And I know I have the odds up now. Excuse me, and he is a small favorite, so I'm going to ride with Hill on this one.
I'm actually going to go the other way. I think.
Okay.
Like I said, I think he's got a little bit unlucky. He has a loss against Magomed Ankalaev.
Yeah.
Loss. So, he's been in there with a big boy like that. He beat Sam Alvey, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But, I think that he has a little bit more experience. His striking is pretty solid for a bigger guy. He looks a little fluffy at 205. He looks like if he can cut, he gets to 185. But I think that's a little bit deceiving. I think that this is one of those cases where maybe Jamal Hill, gets a little humbled with the experience that Abreu has. But at the same time, Hill is somebody whose potential is sky high, man. He's athletic, young, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, man. He's got all the whole package to become something special. And I just don't know. I think this might be the loss that maybe puts him on the starship to stardom. I really do think maybe this loss, again, I'm speaking in the future, he can fuck Abreu up with, in 2 seconds for all I know.
Right.
I do think Jamal Hill is something special. I just think that this might be a little bit of a roadblock, and I think this is when Abreu gets a little bit of luck back. Because I think in his last fight, it was against some guy named Shamil. I can't even pronounce his name, but I had him winning that. I think he's about 2-1 in the UFC. I think he gets a little bit of luck here and puts on a really split decision win. There you go. Yep. All right, next up, I'm actually really excited for this fight. Spike.
I have a lot to say about this.
The no-soul gingered Spike Carlisle.
Yeah.
That's Billy Quarantillo, who I'm huge fan of, man. The way he fights, man, he is exciting. What do you got?
So all right, so you start us off then.
I just think Billy Quarantillo, man, he was getting in his Dana White Contender Series fight, man, he was getting fucked up. I forget who he was fighting in the first round, but he was getting pretty handily.
Hand up.
I was I don't know how I feel about this guy. And then in the second round, he was just something turned in him, man, and he fucking mollywopped the dude. I think his name is Kamwela Kirk or something like that. He's just a guy, forward pressure. It reminds me of a Justin Gaethje, where he'll take a few punches to give a few.
Yeah, take two to give a big one.
Man. He breaks your will kind of guy, and I like those kind of fighters, man. I think he takes this fight. I don't know anything really much about Spike Carlisle other than the fact that he was an underdog in his last fight. He fucked up Alan Cruz bad, in the fight where everybody was putting their money on Alan Cruz. So I mean, I'm not sold on Spike yet, especially the fact that he's a ugly, soulless ginger.
Yeah. His nickname, Alpha Ginger, that's his nickname. But so he's 1-0 in the UFC. He's coming off 3 straight first round knockouts, which is big. So I don't know, obviously no one knows too much about him, being in the UFC. And I want to see what's his guess. When you don't finish someone in the first round, what happens? You know what I mean? Where Quarantino, I guess, I think he's going to be there to stick around. I think his last fight went to a decision, but before that was his Contender Series fight. And prior to his Contender Series fight, he won by finish. And I think before that, he's got 4 or 5 finishes in a row himself. So this could be one of those fights where you bet not only, who you think is going to win, but take the under on this. If the under is a round and a half, 2.5 rounds, whatever it is, this could be a nice little underfight because they're both finishers. So
I like
it
that.
sounds like you're going Quarantillo on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Quarantillo, man.
I'm gonna ride with him as well. I don't know. I keep putting the odds away, but I think he's also minus 167. I have.
I think that's appropriate.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We really don't know much about Spike, you know. Like,
right. That's a thing where it's hard to bet on one of these fights, you know, because his last fight he was an underdog and he won big.
Yeah, in like quick fashion, you know.
Very quick.
Don't see much. He seems exciting, but like you said, I want to see what happens after he goes into the deeper rounds, which is where Quarantillo wants to be, man. I'm excited.
That's what I'm saying. Like Spike Carlo, he's a finisher. He's coming out to take you out in the first round, and Quarantillo, like, literally watch his contender series fight, watch what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm pumped. This card is actually like full of like low key hidden gems that are like.
I'm stoked, bro.
Stoked, man. I can't wait. Next up, we got Caitlin got absolutely massacred by Valentina Shevchenko. Chukagian fighting her sister in Antonina Shevchenko. We got Shevchenko sitting at, I think, a minus 150, and Caitlin's around plus 120. And I think that's appropriate. What do you got?
I have a few. So I'm all over the place with this fight. One, Caitlin Chukagian has to be ranked in the top 2, right? She's got to be. So say she has a number 2 next to her name, just for numbers' sake.
Okay.
And Shevchenko's somewhere in the top 15. If she beats Caitlin Chukagian, does she take her spot? Does she go to the top 5? Does she win one more and then fight for the belt? She's not fighting her sister. So what the hell does she do from here? Like, what? It's a weird spot. It's like maybe that's the time where if she's going to fight for the belt, does Shevchenko vacate it and go for the Nunes trilogy because she's going to have fucking cleared house in 125 by then. But this is also one of those fights where Shevchenko, Antonina is nowhere near as good as Valentina, and like I don't think that's remotely debatable. Didn't she lose? Did she beat Roxanne Modafferi or she lost?
She lost.
She lost, right?
Yeah, she lost.
That's what I mean, Roxanne's another one. Win 2, lose 1, lose 3, win 2. Yeah. So, you know, she's a veteran. She's game as hell. She's a veteran. But this is one of those fights where I could see this easily going to a decision, and I could see Caitlin Chukagian just outpointing her in decision. Chukagian's long. She's got the experience of being there with Valentina, where Antonina is nowhere near as good. They have similar fighting styles. So she trained, you know, a whole camp focused on Shevchenko's fighting style, and her sister is just the worst version of her. You know what I'm saying? So I can see her coming back and keeping her spot at number 2 and beating Shevchenko in decision here. I'm also kind of biased because I'm a big Blonde Fighter fan. She's a New York local, so I'm just a big, you know, I like her. She's trains all the local New York gyms. Aljo and Weidman all love her, so I want to see her do good. I'm rooting for her, and I'm also going to pick her as an underdog.
I feel you on that, and now that you're speaking like that, you are making me sway to the other side. But I just think, I mean, I feel like the UFC is Antonina Shevchenko fan because, you know, she's beautiful. You know, let's be real here. She's got like really solid striking, but like again, her ground game is where she falls. You know, that's where Roxanne kind of took over. And whereas I'm pretty sure at the time Antonina was like a minus 400, some monumental favorite over Roxanne because nobody gives Roxanne the credit that she deserves.
That was on the McGregor card, right?
I was at your house for that, so I think
I parlayed McGregor. So I got a DraftKings odds boost, and it was like an extra 2-1. So I bet $100. I parlayed McGregor by finish with Roxanne straight up, and I bet I think I bet $100 on. I think I won like $900.
Damn, man, that's fucking solid, man. There you go, experience over any.
Yep.
Roxanne's got that shit, man.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna go opposite argument as you. Like you said that Chukagian spent all that time prepping for her sister, but like at the same time, Antonina's prepping for the same opponent that Valentina had, and
she was probably her main training partner.
Exactly, and I just think like that combined with the fact that I think the UFC, you know, match made this. I think Caitlin Chukagian had a few lucky breaks in her run in the UFC, and obviously just lost to a better fighter in Valentina. I don't want to see her do bad per se, but I don't know. I think the preparation that Antonina has should be enough to kind of.
I hear you, man.
I think it'll be a split. I think it'll be close. I do.
I think it's going to be super close, and I don't see it going to the ground. I take that back because I think that now Antonina knows how weak Caitlin is on the ground. I shouldn't say that. I take that back because I believe Caitlin's a brown belt under John Danaher in jiu-jitsu, which is Shevchenko made her look like a fool.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Antonina her last win was a sub. I'm pretty sure it was a sub over Lucy Pudilova. Yeah, rear naked.
Oh my God, I forgot, dude. I forgot that fight ever happened.
Yeah, so like I don't think it would be as easy as maybe some people think on the ground.
Right, I agree. You're right. I see it being a stand-up point fight. That's kind of both their styles, and I can see Caitlin Chikine just being a little longer and edging it out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, man.
It's the fan. I don't know if it's the fan of me talking, but I am going to pick her, and I'm going to ride with her.
Yeah, man. With that being said, tail cautiously, people. We are fans.
Oh, fans first.
Fans first, baby. All day. Next up, we got the return of Mackenzie Dern going up against Hannah Zero Head Movement Cyphers.
Zero head movement, zero. She's like a mute. Zero head movement, zero speaking, zero anything.
Yeah, dude.
And Mackenzie Dern is, here we go again, a massive favorite.
Massive.
What is it? I just saw it today. The line made me almost throw up. Is she like minus 300 or something?
I think it's bigger, dude. I think it's bigger than that. I think it's like
minus 400.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. It's like, this is one of those fights where I almost just want to pick against her just because she's going to show up, but I'm not going to, because she's going to miss weight and she's going to come in, be humongous, and submit Hannah Cyphers in the first round.
Yeah, she's got that thick sauce going on, man. And then if she yeah, dude. If she takes it to the ground, I do think it's essentially over. Like, I don't think so.
I think that's exactly what she's going to do and exactly what the UFC wants her to do. I think they're throwing her a bone here.
I do. I agree as well. I don't think there's really much else to say. Cyphers is just totally okay. Like,
I was high on Cyphers, and then her last performance, I was like, eh.
Yeah, didn't she get grounded out by Hill?
Yeah, and I was like, exactly. And that's why, okay, now you're fighting Mackenzie Dern. Super. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah. Whatever. So Dern's going to be both of our picks here. Next up, Roosevelt Roberts. This is a fun one. Roosevelt Roberts going against Brock Weaver, who just got knocked out by an illegal knee in his last fight,
which he won.
which he won. But he was a huge favorite in that fight, man, and he was losing that entire fight all the way up until he got.
Up until then, he was losing the fight, and he didn't take any pride in that win. Like, I wanted to put a lash on that. He was like, "We got to run that back," which I thought they were going to run it back. This is a crazy time, so they're not running it back. And he's a big dog in this fight, right? I think rightfully so.
Plus 225, something monstrous like that, because. Roosevelt Roberts is like the complete package,
He is, and Brock Weaver, like I said, coming off the Contender Series, usually they push those guys. I mean, they're not pushing him; they're giving him fights, and he's a savage. He's like another person. Like I keep saying, another person made the fight in quarantine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be an entertaining fight. He might get stopped, but hey, it's gonna be an entertaining fight.
Yeah, I just think that Roosevelt will be a little bit too much for him.
He's just better everywhere.
He's better everywhere. He's like 6'2", and he's like
he's just better.
He's just better and longer, faster. Maybe not stronger, but better on the ground.
It's just better.
He's meant to win this fight.
Yeah, the odds makers got this one right.
Yeah, I just think that Brock Weaver is a little bit of a brawler, and I think that Roosevelt will be able to kind of pick him apart.
I agree.
Yeah. Next up, we got. It was Daniel Rodriguez was supposed to fight Kevin Holland, but now it's a newcomer in Gabriel Green, who I know essentially nothing about. So
nothing about.
I don't even know the odds, but Daniel Rodriguez.
I don't think they're I don't think they're posted yet. Like I'm on DraftKings right now, and it still says Kevin Holland.
Right, and so Daniel Rodriguez, we know a little bit about. I'm pretty sure he's a Contender Series guy, but what I do know him about is that he fought Tim Means recently and choked his ass out. I think with the guillotine, which is I was a big Tim Means guy, man. Like I still think that he's very good in all his fights. He's always in every fight he's in. He just kind of looked like shit in that fight.
Yeah, just
Daniel looked that good, Like I think he's like. I think Daniel could be something special. I would have picked Kevin Holland to win.
Definitely.
Still in the fight. But in this particular case, you got to go with Rodriguez. Like,
yeah. I agree. Just because when you take a fight on that short notice, it's just like that's usually how it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's the third fight from the top. I think based on what I'm seeing here on Tapology, but
I don't know if it's going to be still. It might change due to the fact of the late notice shift. They might, adjust. But as of now, that's what it is.
Yep. We'll see what happens. The next up, we got maybe the ugliest guy on the roster, Blagoy Ivanov, going against Augusto Sakai, who I really don't see anything special in him yet. He's on like a 4-fight or something like that, right?
Can you say that again?
Isn't he on like a 4-fight UFC win streak? Like he's
yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Blagoy Ivanov, who's like always the underdog, but still like does pretty well. Like
we share the same sentiment on this one. I think that this is one of those fights where I got to look at the odds again, but the odds I believe are very even. And this is one of those fights where it's like a heavyweight fight. Like that's like, all right, great. This is going to go to decision. It's going to be a heavyweight decision. You know what I mean? But Blagoy is
finished.
What'd you say?
Neither of them have been finished.
Right, and they're both. I think Sakai, he's got some finishes, but not as of recently. I think he's one that lost to Andrei Arlovsky. I believe he lost to Andrei Arlovsky.
I think it was a split decision win over Arlovsky, but I think that what you're thinking is that I think that Andre should have won that fight.
Won the fight. Okay, so that's okay. Okay, got you. And Blagoy is the guy, like he's just a spoiler. You know, he's like almost like an Arlovsky. Both of these guys. So I remember Blagoy. He's a little over the hill. I remember him more as fighting in Bellator, being the WSOF champ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe Blagoy got choked out by Volkov for the Bellator belt, and then he was WSOF champ for a while, and now he's fighting the UFC just like at a lower level. And I think I'm going to go with Sakai in this one. I'm back and forth, but I'm going to ride with Sakai.
I'm going to go with Sakai too. The odds makers have him as like the slightest favorite at -122. I think that's fair because Blagoy is like you said, the spoiler guy. I think that Augusto, he shows signs of something maybe special at heavyweight, but like as of right now, I think he underperforms. Like
I agree, man. I agree.
I don't have anything. I'm not going to lay the chalk. I'm not going to put him in a parlay.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch the fight and maybe, like you said, go take a shit because I think it's going to be a decision.
Yeah.
Here we go, baby. Main event of the evening. We've got Tyron, the old, getting over the hill here, Woodley, going up against trash-talking extraordinaire as of late, Gilbert Burns.
Mm-hmm. Dude, so I'm going to right off the top, I have Woodley in this one. I think that Woodley's going to win. I'm sorry if you hear my dog's toy squeaking, but I have Woodley in this one. I'm going to ride with him. I think he is over the hill, but I saw the statistic by Luke Thomas that Woodley won the belt far later than normal welterweight champions. So like GSP, for example, Lawler, he was older than them when he won the belt, older than them while defending the belt. Just, so I think he's still got it in the tank. He doesn't fight very often. I mean, not often at all, I should say. So I think that his time off is going to benefit him. I think the experience here is going to benefit him. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that Gilbert Burns got knocked out by Dan Hooker, who was an ex-featherweight. You know what I mean? And Woodley's talking about fighting at middleweight. So I could see, Gilbert's obviously a black belt on the ground, looks slick on the ground. His boxing has increased insane amounts training with Henry Hoof. But I think this is just Woodley's a small favorite, but Woodley's always doubted, man. I think, you know what I mean? I think Gilbert Burns isn't going to be able to take Woodley down. And I think Woodley's just going to have packed that punch on the feet. I could see him stopping Gilbert, honestly, making a Woodley statement. I
agree. I don't know. Maybe Gilbert Burns has just been on a streak lately, but I
don't. Oh no, there's no denying he's been on a streak.
I just think that like he's just not an upper echelon kind of fighter. I just don't see him being that kind of spectacular talent that Woodley was or is. Like you said, like he probably still has it, but I just don't think that he has what it takes to be at that upper echelon.
Right.
I mean, like he knocked out Damian Maia, but like, dude,
I know. It's like, come on, man.
I mean, like that wasn't like anything spectacular. I mean, Maia's not a striker, and you knocked him out. Good.
Unless you're Ben Askren.
Yeah, unless you're Ben Askren, man, and just gas out and get choked out unconscious. But you pretty much nailed it on the head, man. I myself, again, I'm staying away from this one in terms of the betting window. I don't think there's really value on either one of them. Tyron Woodley might be fair in a parlay, but I don't know. Like I said, if Gilbert Burns somehow pulls off this win, and I don't even know how he would do it. Like, I don't think he could win by submission or knockout or decision. Like, I think all Tyron. But if he does pull off a win, like, I don't know. What do you think? Is that where does Tyron go from there, man? Because, like, it's entirely
because he's talking about winning the belt back going to middleweight. I don't see Woodley getting his belt back. I've been the biggest proponent ever of him and Colby have to fight, man. Like, they have such beef. Like, they have to fight. I want to fight so bad. So I'm curious to see what happens. I really hope Usman doesn't fight McGregor. Talking about the top of the division right now, like, I do not want to see that at all. It's like, dude, I get it, but – and, you know, there's weight classes for a reason, dude. Like, I'm the biggest McGregor fan around, but Usman is so much bigger than him, dude. Usman cuts weight, and he's bigger than McGregor without a weight cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I really don't want to see that fight
happen. I have no interest in seeing that fight.
All right, so I'm glad we're talking about this because this is what I wanted to get to next. So, obviously, both of us are picking Woodley to win. We got this whole round robin going on at the 155, 170. We got, like, I think the perfect scenario would be, you know, Khabib versus Gaethje, Masvidal versus Usman, and then Conor and Nate 3. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it's gonna pan out that way. And I could see Conor and Gaethje getting matched up in July. You know, I could see Usman, for whatever reason, fighting Conor in this ridiculously stupid matchup. I really don't hope that doesn't happen. And I could see Masvidal getting the rematch with Nate for round 2. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
that's a huge key here. I've been fading Masvidal a lot lately too, which I've been wrong, clearly. But I just think that Masvidal was almost like I don't want to say it, but he was like a journeyman. You know what I mean? And now, oh, dude, it's almost annoying. I guess I'm being a hater, and I shouldn't be a hater because I like Masvidal. I really do like his fighting style. But, like, now all my friends who are super casuals just think Masvidal is like this next big thing. I'm like, dude, this dude's been fighting fucking since we're like 12 years old, bro. You know what I mean? Like, all my friends are dude, Masvidal is he's the man. He's the coolest dude. BMF. I'm like, dude, you know what I like? It's just weird for me. But so, like, in a way, like, it sounds fucked up. Like, I wanted to see him lose, like, in my heart. Obviously, I was rooting for Nate Diaz to beat him, and he put a pretty bad beating on Nate. Ben Askren, I thought, was going to beat him. I think you called the Masvidal win on that one.
Yeah, dude, I had Masvidal by knockout. I had plus 225, man, and I put that.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a good win. But
I just think
I totally hear what you're saying, dude. I totally hear what you're saying, but I hope the way things shake out, especially when Fight Island comes around, I really do hope they make, like, I don't want to say, like, the general matchups, but I really do think the matchups, like, Gaethje Khabib, Usman Masvidal, and Conor Nate 3, I feel like is the best case scenario and sets up a lot of matches for, you know, future between the whole crux of people, man, you know?
I completely agree. And the other thing that I'm super curious is about, like, there's a lot of talk. So obviously International Fight Week is like the 4th of July week in Vegas, and they want to do a big fight, especially if it's at the Apex Center or international. Like, people are saying now, we want to see McGregor Diaz on Fight Island just because, you know, Fight Island, which is funny. I got to say something about that real quick. I ordered a Fight Island shirt from the UFC on May 8th, and I sent them an email today because I didn't even get a shipping confirmation yet. But last time I ordered something, the Contender Series hat, and I just joked. I commented on the UFC page, and I was like, help a brother out. Like, I was just like made a joke about it. Dana White commented on my post and DM'd me and sent me a shipping confirmation like 2 hours later. And my hat got there in like a day. So the boss man's on it. But the one thing I'm super curious about, as bad as I want to see Conor come back, I want to see him more than anyone. I don't know if the UFC will set up a McGregor fight with no audience. That is, dude, I think in MSG it was like over a $20 million gate.
Yeah. And think about it, that gate alone is
the gate alone. That's it. That's what I'm saying. The gate alone.
It's that gate alone is paying all the salary of all the fighters on the card, man. Like people don't realize, like it's hard for the UFC to generate as much profit as they can because the gate is a huge part of it. And then people are like saying like, oh, they're fighting during quarantine, they should get paid more. It's like no, man. It's
not how it works. It's a business. Dana White, they all need more money. The UFC made it a point to not fire not one employee, which is epic. Dana White said every employee will be here when this shit ends. Yeah, he's the man.
And like, I can't fault him. And he's doing everything right. He's doing everything to make sure that his organization stays where it is and goes up. Whereas like other organizations are like, faulting through all this quarantine bullshit, man.
And to play devil's advocate to my own statement just now, the one thing with McGregor fighting obviously would be a pay-per-view. I believe they're charging $5 more for UFC 250 than usual, which is kind of bananas because that fucking card sucks. Yeah. But we'll get into that in a future episode. But for McGregor card, they can charge $80, and not one person would not buy it because it's 80 instead of 65.
Oh, absolutely.
Every casual buy it. And the other thing is, no sports are back. Like I know the NHL is making a bid to come back right now and stuff. But if no sports were back yet by, say, July, and they had McGregor fight in July, I think the pay-per-view buys would be exponential and could kind of cover. But still, it's a huge gap that you're losing from the gate,
That gate is a lot.
The gate is huge, man.
Yeah. So we talked about all the cards. We talked about the judging, which I really wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
We talked about this round robin going on. Is there anything else you want to talk about that you maybe have in your notes or that is on the top of your head?
It's funny you asked that. Oh, well, I'm pumped to have our guests. Talk to Gregor Gillespie, talk to Lyman Good. I'm going to be sending some more messages, just throwing out some feelers. Trying to get some guys out here. We just want to, just provide content for you guys. Like we were saying before, comment, subscribe. Please hit that red button, subscribe. We're doing some giveaways. We're just going to get a lot going on. We want to interact with you guys. That's why we're trying to get it on YouTube and stuff. Just put ourselves out there, get to know us. You can see our faces. I run MMA Gossip on Twitter. Mike runs MMA Gossip on Instagram. So get used to these faces. You're going to be seeing these faces a lot more. I don't have too much else, dude.
No, that sums it up for me, man. Everything that we talked about in the past, I don't know, hour and a half is everything I wanted to talk about, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, can't wait for these fucking fights on Saturday, man.
Can't wait, man. So last thing, episode 9 is a wrap. Follow us on social media at MMAX Gossip on Twitter, Instagram, Gmail. Subscribe on YouTube. This channel is going to grow. I promise you guys. We're going to have interviews on here. I'm telling you, it's going to be different. It's going to be better. Let's go. Just get it down there. Send us screenshots. We'll retweet you the whole 9. Just help the boys out. It helps. Thank you guys for everything you do. That's it. I got nothing else.
That's it, baby. Be well. Love MMA.
Another one in the books.
Another one in the books. Be good, brother.
Peace, boys.